Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Cindy Brown. Let's queer up politics. The Trump administration finalizes plan to cut LGBTQ plus crisis lifeline during WorldPride. As celebrations lit up Washington, D.C. for WorldPride, a quieter move by the Trump administration has sparked outrage across the queer community. The Department of Health and Human Services released its Fiscal Year 2026 budget. Hidden in the pages, a finalized plan to eliminate funding for the LGBTQ youth services within the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, effective October 1st. This decision ends specialized crisis care that has served over 1.3 million LGBTQ youth since 2022. The Trevor Project, one of the key partners, warns that the cut could be catastrophic. Trevor Project CEO Jaymes said, quote, "We do not have to agree on every policy issue, to agree that every American's life is worth saving. It is deeply upsetting to see the administration reverse course on an evidence-backed, bipartisan program. The timing is striking. While WorldPride brought thousands to D.C. in celebration, advocates including Ariana Grande, Daniel Radcliffe, and Pedro Pascal joined in protest, signing a public letter to save the lifeline. John McPhee of the Jed Foundation said, quote, "More than 1 million crisis calls have been routed to these LGBTQ plus focused services since 2022. The current budget proposal puts young lives in danger," end quote. The White House has declined to comment, but LGBTQ leaders say they won't stay silent because lives are on the line. This is so dangerous. You know, the last thing an LGBT youth or any LGBT person calling 988 in a crisis is to be told that if they were not a homosexual, they wouldn't be feeling it, which is exactly what could happen. If these specially trained counselors are let go. At Jewish Community Services, we do the 988 hotline for the 786 and the 305 area codes. And we have our trained staff, and you know, we would hope that all crisis counselors are trained to be sensitive, but with everything that's happening, we cannot guarantee that, and the result will be people will die.
Catastrophic. And thank you to Ariana Grande, to Daniel Radcliffe, to Pedro Pascal, and others for speaking up about this horrific situation. We need all the supporters and allies we can get while the Trump administration carries out the evil deeds of Russell Vought and the Heritage Foundation.
Right.
And what is this also telling our LGBTQ youth, right? A resounding that this administration doesn't think you're worthy of anything. So it's going to make an already horrible situation worse. And I believe that LGBTQ youth are 4 times more likely to commit suicide, and trans even more than
so. Yeah.
So removing the, you know, this vital lifeline, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's just awful.
No, it's very sobering. I mean, I won't say what year, but I remember being in junior high school, going to my guidance counselor, and knew I was different, but I wasn't certainly out. It was a different time. But I remember him saying to me, and not making this up, you know, there are going to be kids like you who get picked on. I was one of those kids that picked on kids like you. I was, you know, because he was a football jock.
Right.
And that's how the conversation went. And I told my mother this many years later, and I said to my mother, she said, "Why didn't you tell me?" I said, "What would you have said, Mom, in 1978 to a 7th grader who brought that story to you?"
Yeah.
Well, you just told us your age.
It's okay. But
it's
things have
horrible.
changed.
And seniors today.
Yeah.
You know, they live through all this horrible, they have PTSD from what they lived through.
Yes.
And now they could be traumatized again.
Yes.
It is,
Well, And then the,
Yeah,
the
it's horrible.
hypocrisy and where they spend the tax dollars.
Of
If
course.
I'm not mistaken, during WorldPride March, I saw some postings, and it sounds like they they denied access to, I believe, DuPont Circle Park. if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
exactly.
And
the park in the
as
circle,
we're
yeah.
all, we all pay federal
Yeah,
tax.
right, right.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the hypocrisy continues. But we're going to get strong, and we're going through another Pride, and we're just going to keep going.
Yep. We did it before. We'll do it
Do it
again.
again.
Keep fighting.
That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.